The cheeseburger, a meat patty with one or more slices of melted cheese that can be prepared in multiple variations from structure, ingredients, and composition. Condiments and other toppings can give a cheeseburger a distinctive quality that separates it from others, but I think we can all agree when it comes to a cheeseburger, simpler, the better. And nothing showed that better than the 2022 film The Menu with its iconic cheeseburger scene. And on today's episode of Pro Chef Reacts, we watch Future Canoe replicate Andrew Rhea's version of the Menu cheeseburger with the burger scholar himself, George Motz. Before we go on with today's episode, I do want to give a special shout out to my amazing patron, Bruce Bartleson. Thank you so much for your support. And with that said, on to the reaction. Let's just go right in.
Sure.
This is Future Canoe. He's one of our favorite channels, and he replicates a lot of very famous YouTube recipe videos.
Okay.
And he's going to attempt to, this is a bit meta, he's going to recreate Binging with Babish's burger creation of the burger from the movie The Menu.
Right.
All right, let's go for it.
Oh, wait, I actually saw that movie.
Yeah, the movie's great. Many people have seen that movie.
No, but I tend to, but you know me, like I tend to not watch anything about food. But now,
right.
I'm gonna be honest. Now that I've pulled away from the kitchen,
Yeah.
yes, I'm enjoying these shows
There you
now
go.
and these movies.
All right, well, let's dive in.
How do you like it?
Medium. American cheese.
American cheese is the best cheese for a cheeseburger because
Damn
it
right.
melts
Thank you.
without splitting.
How much will that set me back?
$9.95.
That come with fries?
Niels,
Yes, chef.
is the fryer still on?
Yes, chef.
Crinkle cut for Julienne.
Food is an interesting.
Julienne?
Yeah, Julienne.
I'm not a fan of matchstick French fries.
Oh, you like that?
I like the ones that came in the can, but I wouldn't go out of my way to make those or want them at the restaurant.
Right.
But the one, that's childhood memory.
They're too crispy. Just like
Exactly.
these little crisps.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It depends how it's cooked, right? A really well-cooked shoestring fry is amazing.
Yeah, so we have shoestring fries at the
No,
restaurant.
he didn't
but
say shoestring. He said Julienne.
Oh,
Yeah.
Julienne. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So now you're on board with me?
Yes, now I'm on board with
Okay.
Yes.
I don't know why you contest me. I'm always fucking right.
You know what? It's just habit. It's just habit, you know?
Christ.
I like to make you
While
upset.
others, like those in the movie, sees it as a type of artistic creation that reaches the level of spirituality. I firmly believe that after watching my videos, both of those type of people will be devastated. So let's make a burger today.
Let's start by making our own big, beautiful potato buns. Into the bowl of a stand mixer goes 415 grams of bread flour.
I like
the
both
big,
these guys, and they're
beautiful potato-
extremes, and you got him on the same.
Yeah, the same
This is
video.
I like this.
By the way, George, if
Yes.
at any time you have something to say, just
Oh, yeah.
holler at me, you know?
Yeah, I'm ready to jump in there.
I was gonna start with
You
the
don't
bun.
ask
In
that
my
of me.
stand mixer goes 208 grams of bread flour
75 grams of potato flour.
and 37 grams of all-purpose flour. As I said it before, it's called all-purpose for a reason.
Tablespoon each instant yeast and kosher salt.
Well,
Half
no
of
one
a
should be
I love
making.
this
teaspoon
kid.
is just
No one should be
and a
making
half
their
of
own
a
buns, as
teaspoon.
far as I'm concerned. No one should be making their own buns.
No.
Sorry.
I agree.
No.
One of the greatest things about the United States is that we have got a great selection of buns all over the damn country, everywhere, everywhere. You know, I mean, people have to make buns other parts of the world because they don't have great buns. This is true. I'm working with some friends of mine. Oh, I can't tell you where, it's part of the tour, but they don't get great American buns there, and they're making a bun just for us.
Are they getting a brioche bun?
Hell no.
Brioche buns.
You saw where I was going with
Oh my God. So, you know, I have all these notes for the interview segment from the podcast. And it just, the podcast went in a direction I didn't really want to bring it up, but I was going to ask you two questions: the most overrated burger and brioche bun. Yay or nay? But let's do it now.
Yes. I don't talk negatively about burgers, but I will talk negatively about a bun for sure.
Okay.
The brioche bun is a joke. It should not be used for a burger ever because there's too much sugar in it.
Fine.
There's also the sugar on the top. And whenever you bite into a burger, the first thing you smell is yeast.
Yeah.
Yeast is a very, very complex compound, and it wakes your brain up. It goes, hey, whoa, something really good's about to happen. And it's by the time it hits your mouth, and you're tasting it with your nose, it's heaven. If the first thing you smell is sugar, you know, you forget, you get confused. Am I biting into a donut? What am I doing?
Right,
It's basically a donut.
Yeah.
And you should not be.
Okay, George said it.
George said it here on Pro Chef Reacts.
So now,
Yeah.
So now we're gonna save that clip, and every time everybody confronts us,
Yeah, we're gonna be like, hey, listen, you heard it from the Burger Man himself.
oh,
It's a personal opinion, but it's fairly accurate.
How satisfying is that?
That was great. That was great. No, George. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dang it. Would you have a sandwich on a brioche bun, a brioche bread? No,
No.
you don't want
No.
something. No.
No.
So that of salt and instant yeast.
Tiny whisk together before adding 170 grams of water.
Ligma fork it together before adding 85 grams.
Just for some context, his Ligma fork is this bent fork that he uses for
Was it
everything.
Ligma fork? That's
Yeah, he
funny.
calls it a Ligma fork.
Sounds like
Of water,
110 grams of whole milk,
55 grams of whole milk,
and 2 eggs at room temperature.
and 1 egg, fridge temperature.
Hook it up, shut it down, and commence to kneading until things just come together into a shaggy ball.
Fork it up, shut it down until everything comes together like a shaggy ball.
Then, to give our buns a luxuriant brioche-like texture, we're going to start adding 50 grams
Brioche.
of unsalted room temperature
Andrew.
butter, 1 tiny cube at a time.
brioche-like
handmade-
texture.
Or brioche-like.
Okay.
That does not look right.
No, that does.
That
what
looks-
kind of fucking.
What is that?
I have no idea.
Looks like a baseball glove.
It does.
Oh, I was gonna say a cow patty.
Brioche dough many times on this channel, and I have to say, folding the butter is the most annoying part. But here's what I learned. An easy way to fold in the butter is place a cube in the center of the dough, and then just fold it and rub it in.
Making sure that each cube has disappeared completely into the dough before adding the next. Keep working it until it easily passes the window pane test.
Once you can barely see the butter,
Dude,
you
how many
fold in the
mixes does he
second
go
one. And you
through
wanna
if he does that constantly?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. Bread will making doughs in your kitchen.
And that's the $700 one. So,
I wouldn't know.
What?
I wouldn't know.
well, the black one is more expensive too.
Why?
The colors, like the red one is more expensive. The white one's is like $100 cheaper.
Babish didn't pay for that.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. then.
Yeah. There you go.
create some movement to
He's like, how can I break these? How much bread am I gonna make to break these?
trick the dough into thinking that it's dealing with a stand mixer, and just keep folding and rubbing it till all the butter is incorporated. This is gonna take a long time, so I'm just gonna go rub it on the couch.
It's not too late to add a little bit of potato flour. It is, after all, easier to add dry late in the game than
I'm gonna add that developing gluten for dough is particularly hard if you're going to do it by hand. It's just a time thing. The mixer moves a lot faster than you. If you're doing it by hand, it's going to take you a long ass time. So what I find happens a lot when people try to get fancy, and I made this bread completely by hand, is their bread is dense as fuck.
Yeah, it's no good.
Super dense
Yeah.
because they didn't develop the gluten. If the gluten's not developed, it doesn't stretch during the, the proofing period, and it doesn't get airy. So use the goddamn mixer.
Or use a store-bought. I hate to say it, but you know.
Yeah, there you go.
Or someone who knows how to make a hamburger bun. You shouldn't
Yeah.
make it yourself.
than it is to add wet.
I wish we could just have the right ingredients so we don't need to play any games, regardless of being wet or dry.
Place in a generously oiled bowl and cover with plastic wrap to bulk ferment at room temperature for about an hour and a half.
Before I auction off my dough as a dinosaur turd, we're gonna shape it into a ball and cover it, rest for an hour and a half.
Unless you suddenly remember that
That
you
ain't
have a
gonna
dough proof.
even
No,
rest.
that's not
And
even
since
going
we're
to rise.
pretending
You can tell by
Yeah.
the texture of the dough. It's the dough is tearing, meaning there's
it's like
no.
you put straw in it.
we're working in a restaurant, we
We can
use
see
that.
Andrew's
Since I'm
dough is nice
pretending I
and
live in a
smooth.
dough proofer, I can just use that.
So now I'm going to retrieve it from the bowl, weigh it, and divide it into 5 equal pieces.
After about 2 hours, the dough doubled in
Ah, a
size.
little bit,
Since we're
little
doing
bit.
half of his recipe, we're gonna divide it into 4 parts.
Once divided, we're going to roll them into tight, taut little balls.
We'll first fold in the sides completely to create a smooth surface, and then we're gonna pull the ball back, keeping constant contact with the work surface. This creates the tension that makes the ball nice and tight like this.
Give them a little spritz
getting
with
all
nonstick
technical.
spray and cover them with plastic wrap.
Since my balls are fairly small, I'm just gonna cup it.
And since this tray doesn't fit in my proving drawer, I'm inflating it with air from my nice warm lungs.
And to give the buns a nice acidic garlic flavor, I'm gonna inflate the bowl with some of my nice warm breath.
Which should help them rise over the next hour, during which time they should nearly double in size.
After an hour, I don't know if they're doubled in size because I don't remember how big they were.
Until our bread leaves an indent that doesn't really puff all the
Come
way
on,
back
this
out.
kid is
Let's do a
good.
poke
He's awesome.
test to see if they're ready. We want it to be bouncy, but not completely springing back.
Next, we gotta prolifically brush these guys down with a whole egg.
Now
Oh,
I'm gonna
it didn't spring back because of the lack of gluten development.
holistically
Oh no, wait, no. It rested, so it would. Yeah, no, it would hold it.
brush these buns with some egg yolks.
but so that we can adhere mountains of sesame seeds to the outside.
And finally, we'll top it off with some sesame seeds. And why does everything I have off-colored?
These guys are headed into a preheated 375-degree Fahrenheit oven for anywhere from 18 to 22 minutes
Now we'll put them in a 375-degree oven for about 18 minutes.
until they emerge too big, way too big.
Not a problem in this case,
Way
because
too
nothing in my house ever emerges too big. You know, I think my buns are actually looking pretty good. Some may say that it's better looking than the original.
It looks
Next
closer
up,
to
the
a pretzel
matter of
bun.
American cheese, a mixture of sharp cheddars, Gouda, Colby, and Monterey Jack.
How would you make cheese?
Yeah, I
To make cheese.
Yeah, don't.
But this
make
is
cheese.
I love Babish because he's always making more work than needs to be done.
Right.
Which and in the effort of it's like Josh Fleischman. They're trying to show you how things are made, and you could make them yourself. But American cheese you don't need to make. Sorry.
No.
It's good. There's so much good American cheese out there right now.
But then again, if he didn't make the bread, and if he didn't make the cheese, this probably would be like a 3-minute video.
Right. Exactly.
And don't we have a stockpile of a government cheese?
Yes, there are.
So we need to get
There
through
is
it.
factually a stockpile of government cheese stored somewhere in America that has how many thousands of pounds of cheese? Anyway,
We're in the millions.
That's well. Let's take our tinfoil hats and not keep scaring George.
To make cheese with cheese, we're gonna use a mixture of sharp cheddar, mozzarella, and since we're making American cheese, we'll use some Oaxaca cheese. Because there's nothing more American than misusing other cultures' ingredients.
We're going to bring 12 ounces of whole milk to a simmer.
We'll bring 3 ounces of whole milk to a simmer.
Oh wait, is
Milk,
he
we're
gonna make a
whisk
Mornay?
1.5 ounces of sodium citrate, a simple food
sodium
additive
citrate.
used in molecular gastronomy.
Sodium citrate and milk to make the cheese. He's forming it into a loaf again.
Oh,
He's basically making cheese from cheese. He's absolutely right. This is a perfect way to make fun of it.
Made that I figured they probably have on hand.
And then we'll mix in a pinch of sodium that I happen to have on hand.
Sodium.
That's not gonna work.
That's not gonna work.
The cheeses at once, reduce the heat as low as it'll go, and use an immersion blender to blend the cheese and the milk together.
Now we'll add all the cheeses and use a spatula to keep stirring till everything comes together.
Oh my god.
Sort of reverse cold stone creamery, a nice hot surface upon which I can spread the cheese as thinly as possible before it sets. This ended up working like a charm.
Now we'll transfer the cheese onto a silicone mat and then spread it out
So
as
he
evenly
put-
as possible.
He puts sodium, which is just straight up salt.
Yeah.
It's not going to hold its shape, even though it cools down. It's not going to be peelable. It's going to be just a super thick paste, as opposed to Andrew's. He put the sodium citrate.
Yeah.
That's what really causes it to firm up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Possible into the fridge till it's completely cooled.
Next up, the fries, which were prepared crinkle
Oh,
cut.
no.
In
Oh, we're doing the
anticipation of
fries
this,
too?
I ordered a crinkle cutter, which to my disappointment wasn't even remotely sharp.
Next up, the fries. In anticipation of this, I dry aged my potatoes so they're starting to look green and have these black spots.
Don't buy a crinkle cutter that you can rip in half with your bare hands.
I follow
Wow,
his advice and
Andrew.
do not buy a crinkle cutter that can be ripped in half by hand. So I'm gonna have to shape my fries individually by cutting little corners
No,
off.
no, you didn't.
Crinkle cut look.
While we're immediately plunging them into a pot of cold water.
Once all the fries are looking even and crinkly like this, we'll put them in a pot of cold water
And adding 1 tablespoon each kosher salt and white vinegar.
and add a little bit of sea salt and rice wine vinegar. Now we'll put it on the stove and simmer for about 25 minutes.
I'm very carefully retrieving.
Do you remember when I used to make the
Yes,
homemade
I
French?
miss
it
those
was
fries.
I know, but it was.
It's a pain in the ass.
Oh,
Pain in the-
God.
We talked about making homemade fries at the restaurant for about 3 or 4 seconds.
Oh.
Yeah.
And it was at the end of that conversation, 4 seconds in, we realized that it would be foolish to try to do.
I know.
I mean, at the
I
end
followed through on that dumb idea.
Oh, God.
At the end of the day, at least here stateside, there are so many good frozen fries.
Yes.
Yeah, it's true.
And storage wise, labor,
Oh.
everything, it doesn't make sense.
True.
And you can overcompensate just by the fat you're going to be using.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and how you're going to finish off the fries. Like, you don't need to.
Yeah.
You know,
And while I do agree that homemade fries can be better, there are too many variables in the cooking process. Like, I know I'm
Oh,
going to
yeah.
make it better, but that doesn't mean my cooks are going to make it better every single time consistently.
It's best left to the professionals.
Yes.
And also, by the way, our customers don't expect us to be making fries. It's like, these are frozen, right? Oh, yeah, of course they're. That's okay.
Yeah, no one's going to get upset.
Always
and placing them.
outsource if someone can do it better.
Yes, I
Exactly.
agree.
Exactly.
On a wire rack.
Now we'll take them out and put it on the wired rack.
These guys are headed into the freezer for at least 4 hours or until frozen solid.
Now these go into the freezer for about 2 hours.
Then they're getting their second of 3 cooks, a low temperature fry at 275°F.
Now we'll fry them at about 275 degrees. When they're just barely changing color, we'll take them out onto a paper towel to drain.
Back into the freezer they go for at least 4
I mean,
hours.
we used to do that. It
Yeah.
was-
Really?
And the
So
and the
much work.
footprint,
Too much
and the
work.
footprint alone.
And
was
you
a
don't even have
disaster.
a fryer
I know
back then.
kettles,
You did it in
Ooh.
a kettle.
kettle.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah, that's
Ooh.
hardcore.
One of our we have 2 fryers in the restaurant. One went down recently, and I remember thinking it was like, I mean, it was bad news. Everything slowed down.
Yeah.
We make a lot of fries, and if you lose one fryer, half of your production is gone.
Yep.
So
It's, I don't want to think about that. I designed my place. I hate fryers, period. I hate the way I smell after
Bingo.
working
Yep.
them. So I actually designed my shop not to have a fryer in it.
oh, excellent.
Yeah.
I designed it so that our fryers are on a different hood system from where I'm standing.
There you go.
And so it's actually at the end of the hood. It's at the end of the hood line, so it doesn't mix up with anything else. It just goes
Right.
right out. So nothing worse.
so
I think
smart.
it's, it's
Oh,
not
so
very good.
you're not pumping out the French fries smell like McDonald's.
Well, we are, but it's covered with all that beautiful onion and beef smell.
Or up to a few months if you want to make these ahead of time.
Sorry, George. I am
months.
going to steal that if I ever open a place
Do
with
it.
a fryer. Yeah. I will give you credit.
Yeah,
I'll
that's
put a
fine.
little plaque on my fryer.
We learned a lot about exhaust systems. We built this restaurant because I had to build a very unique setup where we have a front facing griddle.
Yeah.
So we have a back line and a front line, and the back line has its own hood. It's the same system. It meets in the middle, but
Oh my God, that's so
it's very,
expensive.
very complicated. Yeah, they said, "Oh, this can't be done." I'm like trying to figure it out. It's going to be expensive. We have got the money. Let's do it. Let's make it so. And I do not want to spend the rest of my life facing a wall.
Right. Yep.
And I'm facing forward.
It shouldn't be that common. It's just the reverse engineering of air conditioning.
Oh, it's complicated. We had one guy come in.
Well, because of the fire department.
Fire department, but also you're dealing with HVAC mixed in with all the exhaust stuff. The makeup air, which is the air coming in,
Right.
the air being sucked out. It is a very, very complicated system. It's so complicated, it looks like this big sort of metallic brain before they covered it up with drywall.
Right.
Okay,
I
so
took a picture of it. It's
But
amazing.
now we have to go look at this.
Yeah, we need to go look at. But
You
Now we have to be like this. What are you guys doing? What are you guys doing?
do you want to
Mind your
a
business.
burger?
Mind your business.
Do you want a burger? No.
We're fascinated by his HVAC and his return air.
I've never waited this much time for fries before. These better be worth it.
These guys are now headed into 375°F oil for 3 to 5
I
minutes.
want to talk a little bit about the cooking process for the fries. For those of you for you people watching who don't know, no, you can't. Frozen fries don't come out of the soil, right? When you get frozen fries, it's actually basically 1 or 2 parts of the French fry cooking process already done for you. So typically, the most basic way to do a French fry is you cook it once in oil at a lower temperature to cook it through, and then the second time is to get it crispy.
Actually, there's 3 parts. First of all, you're blanching them in water.
Yeah. Yes.
Now, that's step 1.
Yeah.
Step 2 is this, and then step 3.
Yes, but what I'm saying is a bit more simplified for our audience is
Oh,
you're cooking
you're dumbing down for our audience?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, you know what? I am.
You don't respect our audience?
I don't.
But we have George here today.
Well, I'm not disrespecting him.
I feel disrespected. No, I'm kidding. I wanna know all the
Deeply
steps.
Golden brown and crisp.
Oh, I'm sorry. So when you get the fries, they are par cooked, but they're frozen, and you're doing the very last process. You're just getting them crispy. Yeah, but what they're doing is showing you from A to Z.
Now finally we're gonna fry it at 375 for about 2 to 3 minutes. It does feel pretty crispy, but I'm not sure if it's worth all that effort.
Kosher salt while they're still nice and hot. And there you have it, our meticulously handcrafted crinkle cuts versus store-bought.
Now we'll hit it with a
Yes.
generous amount of salt, and here comes the most important part. This is my #1 cooking secret that I haven't told anybody yet. After you cook your fries, you have to let it rest for at least 10 minutes. And something magical will happen. Look, let's wait for 10 minutes, we'll come back and check.
Years later.
This is what they turn into after about 11 minutes. This works differently for everybody, so you just gotta be patient.
I'm discarding any sinew or connective tissue and cutting all the meat and fat into 1-inch cubes.
I'm gonna quickly release my meat from the enclosement of plastic and then cut them into 2-inch cubes.
Let these
Oh
guys
my
hang out in
God.
the freezer for about 20 minutes before being passed through the medium plate of a thoroughly chilled meat grinder.
And now it's time to pass our meat through a really chill meat grinder. As you can tell, my equipment is not only chill, but also very experienced in handling meat.
I'm opting for the behemoth 6-ounce balls.
And then we'll turn it into
George, how's his meat grinding technique?
It's great.
Yeah.
A little too much touching, over touching.
When it comes to burgers, you generally don't want. Well, what's your opinion on that?
Yeah, you shouldn't be touching the meat a lot at all. You don't want to compress the meat.
Yeah.
Also, there is something to be said for what he was just doing, obviously, where the heat from your hand is actually melting a little bit of the fat too much.
Yep.
And you want to make sure that all that stuff stays together.
Right.
I can't wait to see what Babish does here.
Yeah. When one of the reasons why you don't want the fat to render from the protein is that that's when you start to get that frozen hamburger like gummy type of texture from your burger.
Oh yeah.
If you notice generally a very nice burger texture, you'll notice a lot of separation and juiciness, and that's because there's all these like pockets of fat, right? That hasn't been pre-rendered.
I'm thinking of Pat watching.
Oh my God, Pat would have a heart attack.
to 6-ounce balls.
Preheat to smoking and commence to smashing.
Before we start cooking the
that
burger,
boy
let's
needs a
julienne
spatula.
some onion. So we just go in from an angle and then cut towards the middle like this.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
You could tell that he hasn't worked in the professional kitchen in a while because the hairs
hair
grew back on the hand.
Yeah.
So basically, you just want some thin strips like this on top of the burger. Now we'll heat some oil on a saucepan on high heat, drop in the burger, and then press it down with a parchment paper.
That's a good method. Better than what Babish.
Now we'll do the
Babish was
same
using
thing to the other burger.
Yeah, well, you don't need to hit it.
Yeah, Babish was using a spatula that was literally that's $4.95. That spatula you can buy it at any restaurant supply store, and it's not a good one, unfortunately. This is actually he's actually doing a better method here.
I think this would give you much more even.
Yeah, you've got more control. That's a big
control.
piece of metal,
Yep.
you know.
Yep.
Since we don't want it super flat, pressing it makes no difference. We're just following instructions here. As it cooks, we'll layer in the onion, so when we flip it, the onion will start caramelizing. Now is a good time to take out the sheet of cheese we made earlier with other cheeses and cut it into squares for melting. After we flip it,
I thought it was going to come out pasty, but all right, I stand corrected.
It's hard as a rock. It looks like.
Yeah.
goes
You
the cheese.
put the onions on too late. The onions are too late.
Yeah.
And then we'll take it out when it's nice and melted. At this point, we have everything ready. We're just gonna assemble a classic American burger, just like my dad used to do before he left for groceries. I'm giving a second chance to QP mayo, because my usual mayo looks sus according to all of you. And flashbacks are coming back to me as I layer in a double team of meat patties on the bottom bun. And finally a little more caramelized onion and our burger is done. It's actually looking pretty good. Ironically, it looks like it's out of a but better episode. But I still have to rely on Instagram for honest opinions.
That's not going to fit in his mouth.
Burger that nearly killed the health inspector.
Why is the grip so hard?
Outside, round the outside, round the outside.
Suspiciously normal looking.
No way you made this, bro. I like that.
Now we'll quickly clean up the countertop so we can plate everything and make it look nice and fine. Maybe the patties are too thick because when I squeeze it, it's sliding off a little bit. Alright, after adjusting the patty position, we'll place the burger on a plate and we'll scatter around.
You know, I was thinking the way he made his cheese slices that it was going to come out pasty. Wasn't going to.
Why are you still on the cheese?
Because this
Why?
is called this is called Pro Chef
Come on,
Reacts.
I got a martini waiting for me. And
This
you're
is called
just
Pro
wait-
Chef Reacts, and I'm trying to give some pro chefing reacting. Okay, man.
Okay.
Use some pre-shredded cheese, and pre-shredded cheeses have starches on them that prevent it from sticking. So I think that's what binded everything together.
Cornstarch.
Man.
Yeah, cornstarch.
Yeah.
You happy?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I feel great.
Let's move on.
Around our high effort, completely homemade, sort of weirdly shaped crinkle cut fries around the burger. Well, can't believe my entire afternoon is about to be consumed within
lot of
15
brown.
seconds.
Quick before this gets too meta, let's cut to a slow motion burger squish. And can we get the chef's table text?
Wait,
Nice.
we didn't
Alright,
see
we'll also cut
Babish cooking the burger.
Well, the video is mainly Future Canoe's thing because he's recreating Babish's
but that's
thing.
what I wanted to see.
Oh, that's
though.
what you want.
I don't understand why these guys you should compress to fit in your mouth. You shouldn't design a burger that wouldn't fit in your mouth without compression. But Babish why was he
You remember
compressing?
Ozerski?
Yeah.
The best size burger?
Yeah.
Like you have to be able to hold it
in one
in
hand.
one
hand.
Yeah. It's true. Yeah, he actually liked a burger that was a normal size burger. Yeah.
The slow motion burger squeeze with chef's table text on the top right corner.
Look at how hard that bun is.
Yeah, very dense. It's
Very dense.
super dense bun.
But no one should squeeze burgers.
Agreed.
Did you say you want more? Okay.
But all that should be
Anyways,
in your
time-
mouth, all that juice. Right?
Yes.
To taste it and rate it 1 through 10.
That's what she said. Okay. He's like, where do I start?
There's no way.
Damn.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
He bit through the whole thing.
Sure did.
The patties are a little bit
I was
overcooked,
just
but
about to
overall
say.
the burger tastes very fresh. Using buns that are made in the same day is really a game changer.
There's no way
still
it's
warm
fresh.
out of the
Yeah.
oven.
It
The
didn't
cheese
start out fresh.
No. But
No
perfectly
freaking
melts
way.
This
into
is
the
Future
patty,
Canoe.
and the caramelized onion provides a hint of sweetness that brings everything together. Although after taking a couple bites from the burger and the fries, my mouth is drier than the desert. I think the overcooked patty and the fact that I used whole wheat flour for the buns didn't really help. Overall,
There
I
you
think this
go.
is a
Whole
great
wheat
recipe,
flour.
and I'll give my performance today an 8 out of 10. If you have nothing to do for an entire afternoon and craving a really well-made burger, this is the one for you. Alright, thank you.
all right.
Wow.
All right. There
Oh,
it
man.
is.
Okay, then.
We've exposed you to Future Canoe.
Yes, thank you. I've never heard of Future Canoe.
Yes.
He's actually-
He's based here in New York, too.
Oh, good. Okay.
We've been trying to get him to
His timing,
respond to us.
his monotone timing is just addictive.
No, it's amazing. He does great. Before we close out this episode, I want to say thank you to all of my amazing patrons. Thank you so much for your support. And for the rest of you, please consider becoming a patron by clicking the link in the description below. By becoming a patron, you get to take advantage of some awesome perks like early access to new episodes and patron exclusive content. All right. Well, George, thank you for being on the show. Thank you for coming on the podcast. But I think we can all agree, all of us need a martini and some burgers. So with that said, oh, no, forget that. I'm Chef Brian Tsao, not your typical chef.
Frenchy.
George Motz.
And we will see you next time. Say bye to the wide cam. Bye.